The human embassy on Helix Reach was built to look calm. Soft lights, wide halls, and walls shaped to ease fear were chosen on purpose. Humans believed that if a place looked peaceful, the talks inside it would be peaceful too. That belief had worked on Earth many times. Out here, among the stars, it was only partly true. Noah Hale stood near the transparent wall of the main council chamber. Beyond it, space stretched in slow silence, broken only by drifting lights from distant ships. Noah had trained for years to stand in this room. He had studied alien law, alien customs, and alien history. He had learned how to hide his emotions, how to stay polite when insulted, and how to speak carefully so that no word could be twisted against his species. What he had not trained for was fear that came without warning. The Galactic Council chamber was full. Beings of many shapes sat or hovered in their assigned places. Some had eyes, some did not. Some breathed air, others light, others fields of energy. Humans were still new here. They were still being measured. Noah felt that weight clearly. The session had started like many before it. Trade routes, border patrols, minor conflicts between old rivals. Humans listened, learned, and stayed quiet. That was their role for now. Then the tone changed. High Speaker Urun rose from the central platform. Orun's species looked like carved stone brought to life, slow and heavy, but their minds were sharp. When Orun spoke, the chamber always fell silent. A new directive has been approved, Orun announced, for long-term stability. Noah straightened. Stability programs usually meant rules. Rules often meant limits. Limits often fell hardest on the newest species, Orun continued. Conflict between civilizations most often begins with misunderstanding. To reduce this risk, the Council has designed a binding integration protocol. Murmurs spread across the chamber. Some aliens leaned toward each other, others pulled back. Noah felt a quiet, warning rise in his chest. The protocol requires selected individuals to form permanent interspecies bonds, Orun said. Biological, legal, and social. Noah's fingers tightened at his side. Permanent was not a word humans liked when spoken by others. The first implementation will begin today. A pause. The test subject will be human. The chamber erupted. Voices layered over each other in sounds Noah could not fully understand. Translators struggled to keep up. Some species protested. Others watched with clear interest. Noah's name appeared on the display in front of his seat. His heart dropped, heavy and sudden. Before he could speak, before any human delegate could object, the lights dimmed slightly. A door at the far end of the chamber opened. Footsteps echoed, slow and confident. The figure that entered was tall, slender, and wrapped in dark ceremonial armor that reflected no light. Her skin held a soft blue tone, smooth and marked with faint lines that shifted as she moved. Her eyes were bright silver, focused and calm. Noah did not know her name, but he knew her reputation. Commander Ivara. She was known across several systems as a strategist who ended wars before they began. She rarely appeared in person. When she did, outcomes changed. Ivara walked to the center of the chamber and stopped. She did not bow. She did not look at Orun. She looked at Noah. For a moment, the entire galaxy seemed to narrow into that single line of sight. Her voice was smooth, translated cleanly into human language. Human, you have been assigned a mate, she said, and that mate is me. Silence struck harder than any sound. Noah felt heat rush through his body. Shock, anger, confusion. He forced himself to breathe. This is unacceptable, Noah said, standing before permission was given. Humanity did not agree to this. Orun's heavy gaze shifted toward him. Participation ensures protection, Orun replied. Refusal carries consequences. Noah opened his mouth to answer, but Ivara raised one hand. Not consequences, she said calmly. Truth. That single word cut deeper than threat. Alarms suddenly rang through the chamber. Red light washed over the walls. Security units moved into position. A warning echoed through the station. Unidentified data breach detected. Noah felt the floor tremble beneath his feet. Ivara did not move. Her eyes never left him. This was always going to be difficult, she said quietly. Before Noah could ask what she meant, the council chamber doors sealed shut, and humanity took its first step into a future it did not choose. Noah woke to silence that felt heavy. Not the calm silence of space, but the kind that pressed against the mind. His eyes opened slowly, and white light filled his vision. The room was smooth, round, and empty except for the platform he lay on. He sat up at once. The air felt normal, Gravity felt normal. That alone made him uneasy. A transparent wall shimmered to life in front of him. Symbols moved across it, then shifted into human language. Medical observation active. Noah rubbed his face and took a steady breath. The last thing he remembered was the council chamber ceiling shut, alarms ringing, and Ivara standing like she had planned it all long before anyone else had. A door opened without sound. 2 figures entered. One was human. The other was not. The human was tall and broad, with close-cut hair and tired eyes that missed nothing. Noah recognized him immediately. Ren Calder. Head of embassy security, the alien moved with smooth steps. His form was narrow, his skin dark green with faint metallic shine. His eyes were wide and golden, unblinking. Observer Threxel, Ren said, assigned by the council. Noah stood. So this is detention, Noah said. Ren shook his head slightly. Protection, he replied. For now. Threxel tilted his head. You are valuable human, Noah, he said. Valuable things are rarely free. Noah did not like how easily the words came from him. Where is Ivara? Noah asked. Threxel's eyes flickered. Preparing, he answered. Preparing for what? For the future that has already begun. Ren stepped forward. Enough, he said sharply. You'll speak clearly or not at all. Threxel did not argue. He stepped back, folding his long fingers. Noah turned to Ren. How bad is it? Ren hesitated. That told Noah enough. The council voted within minutes, Ren said. Emergency authority. The bond stands unless humanity withdraws from the council entirely. Noah stared at the wall. They forced this through, Noah said. They have been planning it for years, Ren replied. We just didn't know. The wall shifted again. Commander Ivara entering. The door opened. Ivara stepped inside alone. No armor this time. Her clothing was simple, dark fabric that moved softly as she walked. Up close, Noah noticed details he had not seen before. The faint lines on her skin pulsed gently, almost like breathing. Ren straightened. Commander. She nodded once. Leave us, she said. Ren looked at Noah. I'll be right outside, he said. Threxel followed him out, his gaze lingering on Noah as the door closed. Silence returned. Ivara stopped a few steps away. You should not have been chosen, Noah said. Ivara met his eyes. You are wrong, she replied. You were the only possible choice. Noah's jaw tightened. Explain. She did not answer right away. Instead, she touched the wall. Images appeared. Star systems. Worlds. Ships in battle formation. The galaxy's old, Ivara said. Older than humans imagine. We have risen and fallen many times. Images shifted. Ruins. Burned planets. Most species break under pressure, she continued. They follow patterns. Predictable ones. The image changed again. Humans do not. Noah watched scenes of human history, wars, recoveries, failures followed by rapid growth. You adapt faster than law, Ivara said, faster than fear. Then why bind us? Noah asked. Because the council is afraid, she replied. Afraid of what you will become without limits. Noah laughed once without humor. So you volunteered to be the chain. Ivara's eyes narrowed slightly. I did not volunteer to control you, she said. I volunteered to stand between you and those who would destroy you. Noah studied her face, searching for weakness, lies, anything. Why you? Because my species understands bonds, Ivara answered. We cannot break them easily. When we choose, we commit fully. Noah felt a strange pressure in his chest. Not pain. Awareness. Something is happening already, he said. Ivara nodded. The bond links more than bodies, she said. It links perception. Noah looked at his hands. For a moment he could sense her presence, faint but real, like standing near a quiet flame. This is wrong, he said. Yes, Ivara replied. That surprised him. Then stop it, Noah said. I cannot, she answered. Not alone. An alert flashed across the wall. Unauthorized council motion detected. Ivara's posture stiffened. They are moving faster than expected, she said. Moving how they want to relocate you, she replied, away from human protection. Noah felt cold spread through him. To where a compliance world, Ivara said. Where resistance fades. The door slid open suddenly. Ren rushed in. We have a problem, he said. Security teams are mobilizing, not ours. Drexel followed, his voice calm. Human Noah, the council requests your cooperation. Noah stepped forward. No, he said. Drexel blinked. Refusal will cause instability. Noah met his gaze. Humans are good at that. For the first time, Drexel hesitated. Ivara placed herself beside Noah. He stays, she said. The bond confirms it. Alarms sounded again, closer this time. Ren drew his weapon. We're running out of time. Noah felt the strange awareness sharpen. His thoughts felt clearer, faster. Ivara leaned closer. If you trust me, she said quietly, follow my lead. Noah nodded once. The lights went out. When they returned, the room was empty, and across Helix Reach, something ancient stirred. Something that had been waiting for humans to remember who they were. The planet they arrived on was nothing like the controlled, silent halls of Helix Reach. Noah's boots sank slightly into soft, spongy soil that seemed to pulse beneath each step. Strange plants leaned toward them as if curious, their leaves trembling in a slow rhythm that matched the wind. The sky was a deep green, with two suns casting sharp shadows that moved in opposite directions. Ivara had led him here in silence, walking with precision, never breaking her calm. She stopped at a small rise and gestured for Noah to look. In the distance, jagged mountains rose like broken teeth, and rivers of silver-blue liquid glinted like mirrors. This is your test, she said. Observe. Adapt. Noah narrowed his eyes. He had expected observation, protocol, analysis, not a wild planet designed to challenge him. The first threat came quickly. Plants with bright red blooms suddenly snapped upward, long tendrils curling like snakes. Noah jumped back, barely avoiding the lashes. Ivara moved with impossible speed, pulling him behind her and deflecting one with the side of her arm. The tendrils struck the ground instead, leaving deep grooves. He swallowed hard. This was not a controlled trial. This was survival. The air shimmered. Tiny flashes of light darted like living sparks across the ground. Noah realized they were not lights, they were creatures, small, fast, and intelligent in movement. One lunged at his foot. He kicked instinctively. It recoiled and disappeared into the thick undergrowth. Ivara watched silently, her eyes scanning the terrain as if reading an invisible map. Every now and then, she would point and Noah would see something moving before it struck. He began to understand her method. Observation first, reaction second. That was their rhythm now. Hours passed like minutes. Noah's body ached, his lungs burned, but his mind felt alive in a way it never had. He began noticing patterns. The red plants moved in groups, not alone. The small light creatures avoided the rivers and climbed higher into the rocks. The wind direction shifted faster than he expected, and he learned to adjust his footing accordingly. Every instinct he had developed in basic survival courses became vital. Ivara finally spoke. You are learning faster than I anticipated, she said. Her voice carried calm pride. Noah glanced at her, trying to hide his astonishment. You mean faster than you expected from humans? Yes. Faster than any species we have tested, she admitted. You do not simply react. You predict. You change the rules of the environment without waiting for it to dictate them. He felt a flicker of something deep inside him, a spark of pride that was dangerous to feel when they were not yet safe. Suddenly the ground shook beneath them. A low rumble grew into a roar as a massive creature burst from the forest. Its body was armored, covered in jagged plates that reflected the green light of the suns. Eyes, 6 in total, fixed on them with precise calculation. Its limbs were long and strong, capable of smashing the earth as easily as crushing trees. Noah froze. He had never seen anything like this. Ivara's hand touched his shoulder, firm and grounding. Stay calm, she said. Move with me. He followed her instinctively, mirroring her steps, crouching, weaving between the trees as the beast followed with terrifying intelligence. Each time they thought they were safe, it anticipated a move, forcing them to change direction. Noah realized with a rush that the trial was not just about survival. It was about strategy, about learning to think beyond human limitations. Every instinct, every quick decision was being measured. Hours of running, climbing, and dodging passed, and the planet tested them relentlessly. Yet Noah learned. He began to anticipate the creature's movements before it acted. He found paths that allowed them to move faster than it could predict. The bond with Ivara felt strange now. He could sense her awareness, faint and guiding, not controlling him, but giving subtle hints in timing, posture, and glance. They finally reached a cliffside overlooking a wide valley filled with glowing rivers and strange flora. The creature could not follow, blocked by sheer rock and thick roots. Noah leaned heavily against a rock, trying to catch his breath. Ivara did not speak for a moment. Then she said, You are ready. Ready for what? For understanding, she replied. Understanding that the Council underestimated humanity. Understanding that control is not possible when choice is involved. He frowned. Choice? What choice do we have? You choose how to respond. she said. That is always yours. Even if they do not allow it, even if they try to bind you biologically, you always have the mind to choose. Noah realized something then. This bond, this trial, was never about Ivara controlling him. It was about awakening the human ability that no other species possessed: adaptability, unpredictability, and defiance. He looked at her. And the creature? Ivara's silver eyes shone with something like amusement. Consider it a lesson. Life will always test you, Noah. The Council cannot see the full strength of what humans are capable of. You can. As night fell, the two sat on the cliffside, watching the world below. Noah's body ached, every muscle screamed, but he felt alive in a way he never had. Every challenge on this world was not just survival. It was training, awakening, and proving to both himself and Ivara that humans were not easily contained. The skies above shifted, and distant lightning illuminated strange flying creatures. Noah observed quietly, learning patterns even in this new danger. He could feel the connection with Ivara more clearly now, not a link of control, but one of awareness. Each movement, each glance, each breath became part of a rhythm that allowed them to survive. Suddenly, a low hum rose from the valley. It vibrated through the ground and into their feet. The glowing rivers began to pulse, not in waves, but in deliberate sequences. Noah felt a tingle run up his spine. Something ancient was stirring, something not part of this planet alone. Ivara did not speak immediately. She seemed to sense what Noah felt. Finally, she said, "The Council will try to control the bond, but you are already beyond their calculation." Noah clenched his fists. Already beyond calculation. That was something he could understand, and something that scared him, because it meant the Council would escalate, and humanity would be tested further. Not just by one world, but by the galaxy itself. Ivara stood, brushing off dirt and leaves. "Come," she said. "The night is short, and tomorrow will bring new challenges." "We are not yet finished." Noah followed her, stepping lightly, matching her pace. He felt something deep inside awaken: pride, defiance, and clarity. The Council had underestimated him, underestimated humans, underestimated choice. As they walked into the darkness, the glow of the valley receded behind them, but the lessons remained. Each step, each decision, each movement in response to the world became part of a growing understanding. Now, he was not just surviving. He was learning. He was becoming something the galaxy had not yet reckoned with. And Ivara, walking beside him, was no longer just a commander assigned to him. She had become a teacher, a witness, and perhaps the first true ally who understood what humanity could become. The trial had begun, and Noah realized, with a mix of fear and exhilaration, that he had never been more alive. Returning to Helix Reach was nothing like leaving it. Noah felt a weight in his chest, a mixture of exhaustion and the strange sense of purpose that only survival could bring. Ivara led him through the station corridors with careful precision, avoiding patrols and sensors that had begun searching for them after the Council's alarm. Even in familiar halls, the station felt foreign now. Every shadow, every sound reminded him of the trial world, of the bond he had started to feel, of the awakening inside him. They entered a hidden chamber that Noah had never noticed before. The walls were lined with strange equipment, some human, some alien. The screens glowed faintly, showing maps of star systems, Council communications, and encrypted logs. "This is where you will learn the truth," Ivara said, "and perhaps something the Council hoped you would never discover." Noah stepped closer to the main screen. "What truth?" Ivara's gaze was steady. "Human history is buried," she said, "most of it. The Council erased it, feared it, because humans once shaped the galaxy long before official first contact. You were thought extinct, carefully hidden to prevent interference. You survived. And now, the Council wants to bind what they cannot control." Noah felt his mind race. Extinct? Hidden? That explained whispers he had heard in training, rumors of humans that seemed impossible. But buried history? He never imagined this. "Why reveal it now?" "Because," she said, "you need to understand who you are before you can choose to respond. Without knowledge, the bond would be incomplete." Ivara activated one of the screens. Images of ancient human starships, vast fleets and great cities in orbit around distant suns appeared. The scale was staggering. Humans had not only survived, but flourished, intervening quietly, shaping politics, science, and conflict without leaving traces. Noah stared. This was unimaginable. Humanity had done all this and yet was now considered weak and controllable. The Council feared it, she continued. They feared humans would remember, would awaken fully, and would not comply. That is why they created the bond, to limit potential before it could rise again. Noah's hands clenched. To limit potential? That is not how humans work. You cannot control humans, he said. Ivora nodded. That is why I'm here. To observe, to guide, to prevent them from destroying themselves before they even know what power they have. But also to see if you can choose, freely, without coercion. Noah swallowed. Every trial, every step on that wild planet had been part of a bigger plan. The council thought they could control him. They did not realize that humans adapt, that humans defy. A warning beep interrupted their discussion. Another council fleet had entered Helix Reach's orbit. They moved faster than anyone expected. Their goal was clear. Seize Noah, enforce the bond, and remove the threat before it could grow. Ivora turned to him. You are ready, she said. Not just for survival, but for decision. The council will not dictate your choice. You must act. Noah felt the bond pulse faintly again. It was no longer discomforting. It was awareness. Not hers controlling him, but a connection that sharpened his senses, allowed him to see, plan, and anticipate. He realized fully that the council had made a grave mistake. They had assumed a bond could force humans into compliance. They had underestimated choice, but Ren entered then, silently. He had coordinated human allies across the station, preparing defenses and communication channels. His presence reassured Noah. Humanity might be few, but it was resourceful, and with awareness it could fight smarter. We cannot wait for them to act, Ren said. They will strike soon. Noah nodded. He turned to Ivora. What do we do? We choose, she replied. We use knowledge, skill, and the bond as a tool, not a chain. You will lead. I will follow. Noah took a deep breath, feeling the weight and the opportunity. Humans were rarely passive. They adapted, they improvised, and they survived. Now they would act. The council would see what they had underestimated. The station shook suddenly. A shockwave from the incoming fleet passed through Helix Reach, sending alarms screaming. Humans and aliens alike scrambled, but Noah felt calm. For the first time, he trusted his own instincts and the faint guidance of Ivora. Ivora handed him a device, small and simple in appearance, but powerful. This controls communications and access points, she explained. Use it wisely. Noah studied it. Then he activated the station's emergency network. Humans across the station responded instantly, coordinating movements, securing strategic areas, and preparing for resistance. The council expected fear. They would find defiance instead. Through the station's monitors, Noah observed the council fleet entering orbit. Their ships were large, imposing, and advanced. Most species would have surrendered. Most species would have complied. Not humans. Ivor's presence reminded him that the bond was not a leash. It was a shared awareness, a partnership that allowed humans to act beyond what they thought possible. They moved as one in understanding, not as master and subject. Noah sent instructions through the network. Human teams moved strategically, cutting off access points, activating defense protocols, and using environment systems to their advantage. Alien guards loyal to the council hesitated, confused by the speed and clarity of human coordination. Ivora whispered quietly, You see now, choice matters more than force. Noah nodded. They will learn it, he said. They will see humans are not predictable. Suddenly, a massive council envoy ship docked. Troops began to descend, heavily armed, expecting easy compliance. Human teams, guided by Noah, had already set traps and secured choke points. The first wave encountered resistance that was precise, coordinated, and unexpected. Council forces fell back, surprised by both strategy and determination. Noah felt the bond pulse again. Awareness, he realized, could be a weapon. Not in violence, but in anticipation, coordination, and timing. Humanity had always relied on intuition and improvisation, now amplified. It became almost uncalculable. Ivora moved beside him, scanning every monitor, every movement. Together, they guided human defenders, using subtle signals, gestures, and shared awareness. It was a dance of strategy, one that left council forces uncertain and disoriented. Hours passed. The council assumed they could pressure, intimidate, and command. Each assumption failed. Each movement of humans and their allies showed unpredictability, adaptability, and growing confidence. Noah realized fully that humans were beyond what the council could contain. At last, the council called for retreat. Their ships withdrew, their troops pulled back, and the immediate threat was neutralized. Helix Reach remained under human control. The station hummed with life, relief, and triumph. Noah exhaled, exhausted but exhilarated. He turned to Ivora. This was only the beginning, he said. Ivora nodded. The bond has shown what is possible, she said. The council underestimated not just humans, but choice. Next time, they may act faster. You will be ready. Noah looked out across the station, at humans and allies working together, aware and united. A new understanding had awakened, not imposed, but chosen, and he knew that no force in the galaxy could easily bind what humans chose freely. For the first time, Noah understood fully. This was more than survival. This was humanity rising, not as a tool or experiment, but as a force of awareness, defiance, and decision. And the galaxy would never be the same. Noah stood at the central observation deck of Helix Reach, watching the stars stretch endlessly beyond the transparent hull. The station hummed with life, but the quiet was different now. It was not the fear-filled silence of a place under threat, nor the calm routine of bureaucracy. It was the focused calm of preparation, awareness, and determination. The council had retreated, but they were not gone. Ships remained in orbit at a cautious distance, scanning, observing, waiting. Noah knew it would not be long before they returned with new tactics, but humanity had learned. They had adapted, and they were ready. Ivara joined him, her silver eyes reflecting the stars. No words were needed at first. The bond they shared now was more than connection. It was understanding. Every pulse, every subtle movement spoke volumes. "We need a plan," Noah said finally. Ivara nodded. "They will come again. Stronger, faster, smarter. But they do not understand what humans are capable of." Noah's mind raced. He thought of every lesson from the trial world, every adaptation, every choice he had made under pressure. Humans were unpredictable. They improvised. They evolved. That was their strength, and he intended to use it. Ren approached, alert and composed. Human teams across the station were already implementing measures to secure critical systems. Noah felt a sense of pride and clarity. Humans were few here, but every individual acted with purpose, guided by strategy, intuition, and awareness. They began coordinating a network not just of human forces, but allies from other species willing to see the Council's control challenged. Small signals, coded messages, coordinated defenses, all moving together in a rhythm that was impossible to anticipate. Noah could feel the bond with Ivara strengthening, not controlling him, not restricting him, but amplifying awareness, coordination, and anticipation. He realized fully that this connection, this bond, could not be used to command humans. It could only enhance what humans chose freely. Hours passed, plans were made, and strategies were rehearsed. Every possible scenario, every potential council move was considered, but the focus was not on fear. It was on decision. Every action would be chosen, deliberate, precise. The first wave of the council's return came at dusk. Their ships moved faster than before, deploying troops and drones with efficiency designed to overwhelm. But humans were ready. Each movement, each signal, each response was coordinated, unpredictable, and effective. Noah directed teams with calm authority, using the bond with Ivara to anticipate threats and exploit weaknesses. The Council's expectation of fear, hesitation, and compliance crumbled under the clarity, speed, and adaptability of human strategy. Ren led squads that disabled key systems, creating choke points and safe zones. Ivara monitored movement patterns and suggested subtle adjustments, never dictating, only observing and guiding. Humans responded instinctively, improvising, learning, adapting. For hours, the battle of strategy continued. It was not a war of sheer force, but of intellect, awareness, and decision. Humans moved like water, filling gaps, anticipating moves, and striking with precision. The Council forces, powerful and numerous, found themselves reacting to actions they could not predict. Noah observed from the deck, feeling every pulse of the bond, every awareness of Ivara, every decision made by his team. Humanity was not just surviving, it was asserting its presence, demonstrating strength that could not be imposed or controlled. The Council fleet withdrew again, frustrated and disoriented. Their assumptions about predictability and obedience had failed. Humanity had shown that choice, awareness, and adaptability were forces no authority could fully contain. Noah turned to Ivara. "What now?" She smiled faintly. "Now they watch and learn," she said. "Humans have reclaimed their place not through obedience, but through choice. The galaxy will see what they can do when they decide freely." He felt a deep sense of pride, not in victory alone, but in understanding. Humans were more than numbers, more than tools, more than pawns in galactic politics. They were capable of shaping their own future, of choosing, of acting beyond expectation. The station settled into calm once more. Communications opened across the galaxy, sending messages of awareness, defiance, and unity. Humans and allies coordinated, strengthened, and prepared for the next challenge. The Council would return. No one knew that. But now humanity had proven it would not bow, not comply, and not be predicted. As he stood beside Ivara, watching the stars, Noah felt the bond pulse gently. It was not a chain, not a command. It was understanding, awareness, and partnership. The Council had tried to control humans, but they had underestimated choice. Humanity had acted, and the galaxy had witnessed it. No one knew this was only the beginning. Every decision, every choice, every act of awareness would define humanity's place among the stars. They would face the Council again. They would face challenges beyond imagination. But they were ready, not because someone chose for them, but because they chose for themselves. And that, Noah realized, was the greatest strength any species could have. Freedom of choice, guided by awareness and sharpened by trial, was impossible to bind, impossible to predict, and impossible to defeat. For the first time, humanity stood fully awake, fully aware, and fully free. And nothing in the galaxy could take that away. The calm after the Council's retreat was fragile, but Helix Reach had changed. The station was alive with energy, not fear. Humans moved through the corridors with purpose, coordinated and aware. Allies from other species had joined them, small in number but powerful in resolve. Noah stood at the observation deck, looking out into the dark expanse of space, knowing the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. Ivara approached silently, her presence as steady as the stars beyond. Noah felt the bond between them pulse gently. Not control, not command, but understanding. They had survived the trials, exposed the Council's fear, and reclaimed humanity's freedom. Now, the future was theirs to shape. What next, she asked, though her words felt unnecessary. We build, Noah said. We prepare, we learn, and we show the galaxy who humans truly are. Not as pawns, not as subjects, but as equals, capable of choice, strategy, and vision. Ivara nodded. Her silver eyes reflected pride and something else, respect. The Council had underestimated humans, but that mistake had revealed a truth stronger than any law or enforcement. Choice and awareness could not be bound. Ren joined them, his expression steady but alert. Systems across the station had been secured, human defenses enhanced, and communication lines to allies reinforced. The Council would return, no doubt, but they would now face a united and aware human presence. Noah turned to Ivara. Will they understand? They may try, she said. Some will see the power of choice and adapt. Others may resist. But humanity has proven something today. One species, aware and free, cannot be controlled by fear alone. Noah felt a deep sense of clarity. The trials, the bond, the Council's schemes, all had been tests not just of survival, but of understanding. Humans were more than expected, more than planned for. Their unpredictability was their strength, their choices, their weapon. Across the station, human teams worked tirelessly, repairing systems, strengthening defenses, and preparing for diplomacy. The Council's retreat was temporary, but humanity was ready for the long game. They would no longer wait passively to be measured or controlled. A message arrived on the main network, sent through encrypted channels from a coalition of species sympathetic to humans. They offered assistance, resources, and knowledge. Noah read it carefully. Allies were important, but humans would act first, guided by awareness and choice. The bond with Ivara pulsed faintly again. They had come far, but the galaxy still awaited them. The Council would learn that humanity was not predictable, that freedom of choice was unshakable, and that awareness could not be taken by force. Noah stepped to the window, looking at the Council fleet in the distance, quiet for now, but watching. A subtle smile crossed his face. They had underestimated humans. They had underestimated the bond that could never be forced, only shared. And that bond, awareness, and choice were stronger than any threat. Ivara stood beside him. Do they fear humans? She asked. Not yet fully, Noah said, but they will. When humans act not because they are commanded, but because they choose, the galaxy will see a force that cannot be predicted or contained. A new message arrived from Ren, coordinating the station's activities. Noah smiled faintly. Coordination was easy now, not because of control, but because of understanding. Humans had learned to act as one, guided by insight, awareness, and choice. The suns outside set, casting long shadows across the station. Helix Reach had become a symbol of resilience, adaptability, and the awakening of humanity. The Council may return, but they would not find the same species they had sought to bind. They would find humans awake, aware, and ready to act. Noah turned to Ivara. "This bond," he said quietly, "is not a chain." "I know," she replied. "It never was. It is understanding, awareness, and partnership, something they could not take and something they could never fully control." The stars stretched endlessly, and Noah felt the pulse of humanity through every connection, every ally, every choice made freely. The Council had tested them. The galaxy had watched, humanity had acted, and the future was theirs. They had survived, learned, and risen. Humanity, awake and aware, would never bow, never yield, and never be underestimated again.